Okay, so today we are in the Grape Harvester with my 13-year-old brother. He started driving gondola when he was 10 because we had a grape harvest crew, but during COVID, one of the workers passed away, so that's when we came and started doing harvest. He was 10 when he started driving gondola, and then 11, Dad started teaching my brother and Mom how to drive the grape harvester. And so when Mom was driving the grape harvester, during tight spots, she would have to call my brother to come get her out. And because he and I were driving the gondola, it wasn't until the next year that our other sister heard. She started driving gondola the next year. And then he just kept doing good, so he just took over driving the grape harvester, and so now he drives the grape harvester, and my sister and I drive the gondola. So this is your fourth harvest driving the picker?
Third driving the picker, fourth total.
This is our fourth harvest, fourth year doing harvest, but this is his third year driving the picker. So tell them about it.
So this is a hydrostatic. This is a hydrostatic machine, like most of them are. So this is the main controller. This is what I'm touching the whole time. It's just forward. You move forward, back is back. It's just like your lawnmower. Same exact thing. And the buttons on here are just arms and belts and shakers.
Show them the buttons. Belts, shakers, and the arm adjustments. So I'm always, it's high and low gear on this, so the max speed is only like 9 miles an hour, so it goes really slow. It takes forever to take it farm to farm, especially when they're further apart. And now we're moving to a different field, top field. And when I'm turning, I'm looking back, because when I'm turning, the back of the picker will swing and it'll hit the anchor wire if you turn too soon, because it's long in the back. So when I'm turning, I'm always looking back, especially when it's tight. Like right here, it's not bad for turning, but and like right now, it's going like it is in low gear, but always want to be in low gear when you're picking. What are you doing?
Temperature is that I think we might put a new radiator in this. It's kind of running after that new water pump. It's still running hot at 210 right now, which is not overheating, but still warm. Now, because it's tight, I need to go into this row. If I kind of come here, and then I just turn the other way, and I'll be lined right up. You have to do that every single time when it's tight up here. So that I'm always looking in that back camera when I get into the row to turn the shakers on right when I pass that end post to get all the grapes off at the end. This is the speed, shaker RPM, and engine RPM is that very, very bottom one, the big one. And that shaker RPM, that middle one, he has turned all the way over. It's not working. I just have to swap them out. And we usually run the shakers, like right here, they're not exactly, yeah, they're heavy right here. So run the shakers at 3,000 RPM. And so, there you go. Now he's full, and I just pull that back, hit the button, swing the arm in so the grape juice doesn't get on the new tractor. That's something we just started doing this year with these new tractors.
Okay, so what's the hardest part about driving the Grape Harvester?
Probably just staying centered in the row, I guess. Because, I mean, you have a little bit of air room, you know, that can be a little bit to one side, nothing will happen, but...
What happens if you don't stay centered in a row?
Or it'll just kind of rub against the grapes and might crack the vine, maybe. And if you're way off, it'll kind of start pulling them out. Or getting into the row when the daylight is starting to go away.
The
and
sunset.
You can't see
That's what you call sunset.
And you can't see the shakers on the post. And it'll yank out the rod. It's easy to fix. Just unscrew the bracket, push it back in. But
do you like driving gondola or the picker better?
Well, last year the picker. This year I don't really. Probably the picker, but it's close. Those are the new tractors, so they're nice.
Just the job. Nothing like.
Well, then the picker, because then I'm not looking back every.
What job do you like doing better?
Then I like doing the picker because I'm not. I mean, I do look back to make sure everything's going good, the belts. But I'm not looking back, and it's just easier on my neck. And actually, we have 4 cameras. This is the down there that's shining at the bottom belt on each side. So you can see if they're turning. And the front ones were getting lined up in the row. I never use any of them actually. I just use the back one. So I just put a full screen on the back, and that's what Dad's been doing too. Because we just don't really use the other ones. It doesn't hurt to look back. And because the back one is the most important one, so you don't for getting in and out of the row. Yeah, go 4. Is all that thick? Yeah. Hey.
They're signaling the pattern.
So there was 154 vines in one row, and we planted those vines 6 feet apart. And so the row ends up being like 900-ish feet long. That's why everybody, we like harvesting this field because there is so many grapes. We fill up a semi really quickly. It goes like super fast. But then with the more tonnage, the less sugars there is. But the sugars haven't been that bad. Last night the sugars, it was like 16.5, and the minimum sugars you can have, it's like 15.5, I think. It's like 15.7 or something, and ours last night and the other loads have been like 16.5. One row, it fills a 3-ton gondola. But it does vary. Sometimes if it doesn't fill it perfectly, then we have to go up a little bit the next row.
And so here, it's a lot heavier place. There's a lot more grapes on the vine, but it's really, really, really hilly. So the picker's kind of sitting sidling, and these 3 right here, these are leveling, so I can lift up the whole machine like 3 feet off the ground. These 3 right here, I can lift the whole thing up, and like I can set the whole thing down. So like if I get a flat tire, which I did, and you probably saw in that video, he put something under the back, and I just lifted up the tire and didn't even use a jack. So this whole thing can lift itself up. So that's for leveling. So when you're on uneven ground, you can level it out and you're sitting level. So I use that all the time. Dad never does. I don't know why. I keep telling him to. It's a lot easier to pick when you're sitting level and not sideways. So I started driving this picker. So this steering is really, really easy. It's just, it'll turn like it's crazy how easy it'll turn. Like it's super easy to turn. So when I first started driving it, I did not like it because it was so easy to turn, and I was used to the tractor where, you know, tractors are easy to turn because they do have hydraulic steering, but not as easy as this. But then eventually going down the road, I really didn't like it because it was like kind of almost swerving because it was so easy. But I got used to it. Now I can't imagine it being harder to turn. Semi trucks out there, they're good jaunts. And so we have 2 gondolas, and these, with the mix of those trucks kind of far away, and these grapes being so heavy, the other gondola driver's not back, so I'm going to be winking here because she's full. Winking, and while I wane, I rev it down, which is this little knob back here to save fuel, and just
That dirty.
yeah, this red knob is to push that, pull up, or just push down. I don't want to do it too low because it's not good to run it at too low of an RPM. See that shaker gauge? I have them off, but now it says 2,500 RPMs. It's broken.
Okay, so what is the picker? Like, what model?
Naren 20 something.
So now he is waiting for the next gondola driver to show up, which is Dad. He's so lately Dad's been well, unless Dad needs a nap. But
During the conventional Concords, he usually drives the picker and I drive the tractor just to kind of mix it up. But during Niagaras and organic loads, Dad usually takes in the truck. I will usually drive this, and her and my other sister will drive the gondola. But during the conventional Concords, I will come up in the picker eventually, just kind of switch it up.
give Dad a nap.
Yeah.
Because we know when he needs one when he starts blaring the horn more than usual. Does he not? Should I say
Don't put that in, no.
Why not? What do I say then? We know he needs a nap when he starts honking more than usual.
And see that cover thing right there? That cover, that like thing that goes over that arm right there? That is a giant magnet, and any nails, well, they just, the plant, they have even bigger magnets to get any extra. They have a huge, like a couple of huge magnets that will get out any more nails in the thing. But this gets out most of them, and the plant gets out every single one of the rest. Their magnets are huge. I'm not sure how they work, though, but under the seat of the fuse box. So yeah, I just.
This seat was the one that it had in, but then there's a lot of room here, so he stuck another one in. It was you that did that?
Yeah, it came out of another old tractor. It's an air seat, so it leaked air, and it's just all the way blown down. And the seat fit perfectly. Kind of a narrower seat, but it's not bolted down or anything. It's just fitting there. And this has a huge fuel tank. So it takes forever to fuel up because we don't really have a big pump on the fuel tank, and so it takes a good 15 minutes to fuel it up completely when it's pretty low on fuel. Actually, so when he was teaching Mom how to drive the picker, he was saying what not to do, and he did it. And he took out like 3 or 4 vines up, the anchor post, and 3 or 4 vines going up.
In other words, he was basically saying, do as I say and not as I do.
Yeah. So this is for a long time, I don't know why, but this window was broken and it had like a chunk out right here. It was just about right there, and birds sometimes fly in, so they had to Gorilla tape it off. But the Gorilla tape never stayed on there. but there was a chunk like that big out right there.
How did it happen?
I have no idea. It was probably because it's a window that can swing out, and there's these little latches you could pull down to lock it in to the seal, and that's probably why. But so then we finally replaced it this year after however many years.
Because Mom told you to.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have it. Mom didn't tell you to.
Yeah. So this is Lexon. It's like plexiglass. It's kind of flexy. So we just kind of glued it with some silicone. Glued it to the seal. We never swung it out anyways. When I'm coming out here, there's a whole bunch of room. To turn. So of course I use all of it. And I sometimes won't even look back because I just come way out of the row. So here, with a lot of room, I can just turn right into it. No problem. And these turning balls, these right here, they spinny and you can just turn. They help a lot. It's just because then you have to crank the wheel. It saves a lot of time. You can turn a lot faster. And with the super steer on the front of these tractors, if you've never heard of it, look it up. It's patented by New Holland. New Holland is the best.
Non-sponsored. Good grief. You still don't think you were sponsored.
You can turn a lot faster and just whip right around into the next row. I bet these New Holland super steers, we can actually turn when you're going, and you can turn right into this next row.
On some farms, we don't have a lot of turning space, and so having a super steer tractor, you can just like get right in there, and it's no difficulty at all. Huh? Oh, the birds!
She was signaling birds that they were all flying in unison, and I had no idea what she was saying, but somehow she figured it out. Must have some sister or whatever. So right back there in that clip he was just taking, the shaker rod got caught on the top of the post, but it didn't pull it out, which I like. It didn't pull it out, it just slipped off the post.
It's a must to have baby wipes in the tractors and grape picker during grape harvest because things can get a little sticky. We'll just do a voiceover here saying I typically do this, but tonight she was washing.
Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it.